in any black neighborhood or whatever, you got it. They got gangs. You know what I'm saying? I ain't been the one that don't have no gangs. They got gangs.
Right, hip hop's energy begins in the street gang culture, very specifically the BlackSpades.
The Bronx streets was dominated by Caucasians. That's an important footnote for hip-hop history. That's an important thing to understand as far as American history, New York City history, Bronx history. Bronx was dominated by Caucasians at that time.
And then they heard of the BlackSpades, and they had their name and their center pads.
And all of this atmosphere led to the African-American youth organizations, what they call youth gangs, of the late 1960s, early 70s. Some of these African-American street organizations, like the BlackSpades, formed to fight oppression.
Started the Spades when we was, what, 14, 13, something like that, around that age.
Around that area.
It was 1968, 123.
Right.
123, junior high school, James M. Curran. We started because we had other gangs around the neighborhood that we couldn't go past certain areas.
Right.
They was always threatening us.
True, some gangs' purpose is negative, but it's only a reflection of the reality they already live in. And also, gangs were birthed from teenagers. Some did have a purpose, but you can't expect grown thinking from every teenage kid. The movie Sonny Carson is a visual of the black youth in the ghetto in the 70s.
Extreme pleasure that I present this year's I Am an American Award to young Robert Carson. You, Robert, are a splendid example of the American dream. Oh, boy, 13.
Why did you do it?
I don't know.
I ought to whip your tail right here in the street.
Cause some white man told you to?
I'm Sonny Carson. I'm warlord of the Lord.
But if you want to be a lord, you gotta go through the old mill.
Hip hop was a youth-oriented movement.
Right.
It's not adults.
Right.
It's youth-oriented.
Right.
Any adults were very young adults. Very, very young.
Right.
And those adults were still connected to us.
The gang scene in New York created the hip-hop culture out of poverty, which is a positive from a negative. The media manipulates the masses by pushing hip-hop. Reality rap is the reason for the negativity in the black community. When in fact, the youth making songs about surviving their harsh realities and poverty, and the songs getting 1 million views creates legal way out the hood.
I am a nightmare walking psycho.
Ice-T explains that 1988 was the first time national awareness about LA gang violence was made public to America, despite having over 300 gang-related murders that year before.
Now, when they wanted to do the movie, first they said, let's shoot it in Chicago. And then Dennis Hopper said, let's shoot it in LA.
15th April 88, Colors drops.
People said, we have gangs in LA?
So it would have been about Chicago?
Well, they wanted to make a movie about gangs, but they didn't know there were gangs in LA. That year, 360 kids had died, almost one a day in LA. But no one it wasn't spoken. It's like Black Lives Matter. No one talks about us. We were just getting killed.
There's been another violent weekend among the gangs of California.